It's an endless tide constantly washing over us poor individuals that constantly have to witness the toxicness of boy mums. Now, given a lot of boy mums are not like this, but the minority seems to make up the majority, and that is where people can get confused. Now, this TikTok trend is making its rounds at the moment, and funnily enough, it was a little bit of a trend towards the end of last year, but now it is picking back up in full speed, and we gotta talk about it because I am so tired of these I want to be the only woman in my son's life type of mums, because you sound really cringe and weird because you don't have that someone to fulfill your needs. So then you start projecting that onto your son, and then you start spouting internalized misogyny over on TikTok, when in fact, yeah, you should be teaching your son how to cook, not only because you are his parent, so you should be teaching him basic life skills in the first place, but he needs to eat. He needs to feed himself. So what the and also, it should have nothing to do with the fact that his possible spouse is a bad cook or she makes frozen pizzas some nights. Making sure my son can cook so he's not impressed by your daughter's stuffers lasagna. Ugh, that look, dude. Yeah, babe, you should probably definitely be teaching your son how to cook, not just because, once again, it's a basic life skill, but because he shouldn't have to rely upon anyone in the future to do that for him. He should know how to do this very basic life skill, because surprisingly, still in this day and age, so many of my male friends still don't know how to cook. They still don't know how to cook, and it's frustrating because they are the same people to complain about eating certain easy meals such as a frozen pizza or whatever the a stuffers lasagna is. And then at that point, this future partner of theirs is going to have to put up with a grown man baby because of people like this. Like, just teach your son how to cook just because it's a necessity. Okay, this lady, I feel very like scared by her. I don't know why, but like making sure my son can cook so he's not impressed by your, once again, ugh, why are you worrying about this phantom woman in your head that you've already made up? Whereas now you're hating this phantom woman in your head so much that when it comes around to the time where your son starts dating around and dabbling in future partners, whether that be man, woman, they, them, it doesn't matter. You already have this preconceived notion that you've made up in your head for years and years and becoming even more bitter about. And then you're going to have a situation where this future partner doesn't want to have anything to do with you. And that further trickles into his life where it's like, I don't really want you to have anything to do with your mother either because she's the biggest alive. Do I think it's right? Obviously not, but you get what you give, really. And why is it so wrong to be impressed by a lasagna? A lasagna is not only one of the most simplest things to make, but it's one of the most delicious and cheapest things to make too. Stop trying to like date your sons in your head. It's really, really weird. Teaching my son how to cook so he doesn't have to depend on your toxic daughter, very weird, for creating this phantom person in your head that you just hate so much. Like, your sons are too little and you're already projecting this heteronormity onto them where they pretty much have to date a chick. Like, who's to say little Jimmy isn't into guys? I really don't get it. It's weird, and it honestly just makes me think that you really wish you could date your sons, because who thinks about this shit? Teaching my son how to cook so he's not impressed with your dusty daughter's takeout skills. So you're telling me you've never had takeout in your life, Miss Queen? Oh, you're so much better than everybody else because you can have a cooked, hot, prepared, fancy meal on the dinner table every single night. Get over yourself. So it's bad for this phantom woman in your mind to feed your son, whether it's takeout or not. But if he was to get that takeout, it'd be like, oh my god, yes, little Jimmy. Oh my god, I literally love him. Look at him. He's getting KFC. Oh, what a dashing young man. Also, I really don't think that these women understand what they're doing. Like, you have this out here on TikTok, and your son's future partners are gonna see all of these no matter what their gender is. So good job for already alienating someone someone because they buy takeout? Isn't it better to eat than go hungry? Shouldn't you be thankful that someone is thinking about feeding your son instead of, I don't know, getting takeout for herself? Teaching my son how to cook so he's not impressed by your daughter's first... Like, the looks that these women are giving to the camera as well is irking me really fucking bad, because we get it. You have a lot of internalized misogyny in here to the point where a woman has to be in the kitchen 24/7 making a delicious, nutritious, healthy meal after her day. It doesn't matter if she works full time. It doesn't even matter if she's a stay-at-home mum full time. Thanks so much for projecting what you shouldn't be projecting as a woman. Frozen pizza tonight. I'm fed, aren't I? May not be the most nutritious thing. It may not be the most healthy thing. You do realize what kind of times we live in, right? If you want this phantom woman inside of your head to go ahead and make your son meals every single night, then your son should also make sure that her, I don't know, clothes are paid for every single month, that her favorite wines and coffees and teas are in the house all the time. Because relationships, babe, are a two-way street. And just because your man projects this kind of stuff onto you and expects this kind of stuff off of you doesn't mean he's gonna do the same thing. Stop trying to raise more toxic men. It's gross. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to make dinner every single night. I make dinner, I'll be honest with you, 95% of the time. But that 5%, I'm way too tired. My boyfriend's way too tired. And we're just like, yep, we're just gonna get some takeout tonight. No worries. What matters is that we are fed, that we have eaten. And I think what irks me the most as well is that the misogyny within these videos get even worse. So we have this one here too. Teaching my sons to cook so your hot pocket thotty daughter doesn't impress him. You're strange, bro. I am surprised of how many people are out there like this. If you're this invested into who your son's future partners are, you need to take a good hard look at yourself and wonder what the core of this issue is. Teaching my son how to cook so he doesn't have to depend on your non-cooking daughter. He should already know how to cook. I'm sorry, but we don't want to live with man children anymore. We want to live with people who know how to do things that are expected of us. Women, femmes. We are constantly expected to have a hot meal on the table every single night. He should also contribute to that. And don't bring this bullshit of it used to be like this back in my day. Well, it's long gone. It's 2023. People need to know basic life skills, and you're failing as a parent if you are not doing that. Because I know that there are going to be so many people in the comments that are going to be saying, well, I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. It's just frustrating when you start getting into relationships. You know, my parents have taught my brother how to cook. He makes a mean katsu curry, but apparently it's not up to parents to do this unless they're thinking about some phantom future partner of their sons in their head, and then it kicks their ass into gear and has them teach them how to cook. Well, I think at the very least, this is making them teach their sons how to cook instead of going out into the world and expecting the women in their lives to cook, expecting their partners to know how to cook, expecting their partners to cook every single other night. I think this trend is absolutely horrific, and I think it just goes to show how much women in these videos not only hate themselves, but hate other women too. Because what gives this amount of projection? What gives judging people on what they can and can't afford, what they can and can't do? I'm not afraid to say it, but all of the women I showed in today's video are very weird, and I am so glad I don't gotta deal with this. I'm so glad, because anyone in the future is in for a nightmare dating any of these people's sons, bro. Oh my God, just leave them alone. Leave their dating life alone. Leave their sexuality alone. It's weird. You're weird. Please take care of yourselves, and most of all, love your fucking selves.